Hi friends, today our topic is helical antenna. So generally these helical antennas are broadband VHF and UHF antennas. That means these are operated at VHF and UHF frequency ranges. And these helical antennas are providing the circular polarization, and these helical antennas having the wide bandwidth, and these are giving the higher directivity and providing the circular polarization or elliptical polarization. And now how we are designing the helical antenna. For designing the helical antenna, here we have to take thick copper wire. That thick copper wire wound in the form of screw thread, it is forming the helix. Okay, and one end of the helical antenna is connected to the coaxial cable. And these helical antennas are widely used in space and satellite communication. And these are used in VHF signals through ionospheric layer in that cases also. Means for transmitting or receiving the VHF signals through the ionospheric layer, so in that purpose we have to use array of helical antenna. And now here we are seeing the structure of the helical antenna. Okay, this one is the structure of the helical antenna. Here this one is the helical antenna having the number of turns, and here one end of the helical antenna is connected to the coaxial cable. This coaxial cable containing the two conductors, one is the inner conductor, other one is the outer conductor. For the inner conductor we are connecting the one end of the helical antenna for the feeding purpose, and the outer conductor is connected to the ground plane. And coming to this one, here d is the diameter of the helix, and small d is the diameter of the helix conductor, and L is the length of the one turn. And here S is nothing but spacing between the two turns. And here A indicates the axial length of the helical antenna, that is nothing but N into S. Here N is nothing but number of turns in the helical antenna, S is nothing but spacing between the two turns. And here all these are the helices in the helical antenna. These helices having the circumference, that is nothing but C, that is nothing but pi d. And in these helices the pitch angle is also existing, that is nothing but alpha, that is tan inverse of S by pi d. Now here we have to finding the what is the length of the one turn and what is the pitch angle. For finding the length of the one turn and the pitch angle, here we have to take the one turn from this helical antenna. Here we have to consider the one turn of helix. Okay, this is the relation between the spacing between the two turns, length of the one turn, circumference and pitch angle. Okay, this one turn showing the relation between the spacing between the two turns, circumference of the helix, pitch angle and length of the turn. By using this one, here we have to find out the length of the one turn and the pitch angle. It is look like a right angle triangle now. So now here we are finding the length equal to under root of c square plus s square. Already we know the c is nothing but circumference of the helix, that is nothing but pi d. Now L equal to under root of s square plus pi d whole square. And now find out the pitch angle. How we are finding the pitch angle? For finding the pitch angle, here we have to consider the spacing between the two turns and circumference. So that is nothing but tan alpha equal to s by c, that equal to s by c is nothing but circumference of the helix now, that is nothing but pi d. From this the pitch angle alpha equal to tan inverse of s by pi d. Like this in the helical antenna we are finding the one turn length and pitch angle. Okay, and here S is nothing but spacing between the two turns and D is nothing but diameter of the helix. Depending these two parameters, the modes of helical antenna is existing. Means the modes of radiation of helical antenna is existing. Okay, generally the helical antenna radiates in many modes, but all those modes, the two modes are very important. Those are normal or perpendicular mode or broadside mode of radiation. Second one is the axial or end fire mode or beam mode of radiation. These two are important modes of radiation of the helical antenna. First here we are seeing the normal or perpendicular mode. So in this normal or perpendicular mode, the maximum radiation takes place perpendicular to the helix axis. It is look like a broadside, that's why it is also called broadside mode of radiation. How the normal or perpendicular mode of radiation is existing helical antenna? To achieving the normal or perpendicular mode of radiation in the helical antenna, the NS must be less than, very much less than lambda. Means the diameter of the helical antenna is very much less than lambda. So then only the normal or perpendicular mode can be existing in the helical antenna. But due to this much of small dimensions, we are obtaining the narrow bandwidth and radiation efficiency is also very low. Okay, how we are increasing the bandwidth and radiation efficiency? For increasing the bandwidth and radiation efficiency, here we have to increasing the size of the helical antenna. Then only bandwidth is increases, radiation efficiency is also increases. And here we are seeing the analysis of the normal or perpendicular mode of radiation in the helical antenna. Generally, the helical antenna is a combination of small loop and short dipole. Those are connected in series. Now see here, this one is the helical antenna now. So in this helical antenna, how the small loop is existing, how the short dipole is existing. Here we have a spacing between the two turns, that is denoted with S. This spacing between the two turns represented as the short dipole here. And here this one is the diameter of the helix. This diameter of the helix represents as the small loop. So like this, the helical antenna is a combination of small loop and short dipole. See here, the spacing between the two turns represents as the short dipole. The diameter of the helix is represented as the small loop. This one is a small loop and this one is the short dipole. These two are connected in series in the helical antenna. How the small loop can be existing, how the short dipole can be existing. When the spacing between the two turns is 0, when the spacing between the two turns is 0, so the small loop is existing and the diameter of the loop must be equal to the diameter of the helix. And coming to the short dipole, so for the short dipole, there existing some space between the two turns. And here the diameter of the helix is 0. Like this, the short dipole is existing in the helical antenna. Means for the small loop, the spacing between the two turns must be 0. For the short dipole, the diameter of the helix must be 0. So now, what is the pitch angle for the small loop? What is the pitch angle for the short dipole? The pitch angle for the small loop is nothing but alpha equal to 0. The pitch angle for the short dipole is alpha equal to 90 degrees. Whenever the pitch angle is less, the radiation takes place from the small loop, and whenever the pitch angle is high or 90 degrees, the radiation takes place from the short dipole. Like this, in the helical antenna, the radiation is depending on the pitch angle, and in the helical antenna, the elliptical or circular polarization is existing, that is also depending on the pitch angle. So now here, this one is the spherical coordinating system. So I am placing the spherical coordinating helical antenna in the spherical coordinating system. So already we know the spherical coordinating system having the angles elevation angle and azimuth angle. The elevation angle varies from 0 to pi, azimuth angle varies from 0 to 2 pi. Okay, why I am placing the helical antenna in the spherical coordinating system? Already we know in the helical antenna, number of short dipoles, number of small loops are existing. All those are connected in series. Okay, here we have to find out the far field component for the small loop and far field component for the short dipole. Due to that purpose, here I am considering the spherical coordinating system for the helical antenna. This one is the distance point. At this point here we have to find out the far field of small loop, and at this point here we have to find out the far field of short dipole. Here E phi is the far field of small loop, E theta is the far field of short dipole, and here to here the distance is r and the angle is theta here. Now see here, the far field of the small loop is given by j into 120 pi square I into sin theta by r into a by lambda square. Here I is nothing but a retarded current, the units are amps, and r is distance point from this origin to the far field point, and here that is in meters. A is nothing but area of the loop. Here we are seeing the far field of the small loop now. Thus A is nothing but area of the loop, that is A equal to pi into d by 2 whole square. So A is nothing but pi d square by 4 meter square. And here lambda is wavelength, the units for the wavelength as meters. Similarly, here we are seeing the far field of the short dipole also. E theta is the far field component for the short dipole, that is j into 60 pi I into sin theta by r into s by lambda. Here s is nothing but short dipole length or spacing between the two turns. I already told you the spacing between the two turns represented as the short dipole. Means the spacing between the two turns is nothing but length of the short dipole. And here we have to find out the axial ratio of the elliptical polarization. The helical antenna providing the elliptical polarization or circular polarization. Now here we have to find in the axial ratio for that elliptical polarization. For finding the axial ratio for the elliptical polarization, here we have to take in the ratio between the magnitude of the field component due to the short dipole, magnitude of the field component due to the small loop. So here we have a formula for these two components also. Now substituting the formula and cancel the terms. The axial ratio will become S lambda by 2 pi into A. So now already we know A is nothing but area of the small loop, that is pi d square by 4 meter square. So now axial ratio will become 2s lambda by pi square d square. Now here, depending on these axial ratio values, here we have a three conditions. Means when the axial ratio is 0, the elliptical polarization becomes linear horizontal polarization. Linear horizontal polarization is nothing but the electric field lies in the horizontal plane. And when axial ratio is equal to infinite, the elliptical polarization becomes linear vertical polarization. Linear vertical polarization is nothing but the electric field lies in the vertical plane. And coming to the axial ratio is equal to 1, the elliptical polarization becomes circular polarization. These three conditions were very important. Depending on the axial ratio, the polarization may changes. And here axial ratio equal to 1. Already we know the formula for the axial ratio, E theta by Ey, that is nothing but 2 s lambda by pi square d square. They will be equal to 1. So equating these two and swallow this one, and here we are finding the spacing between the two terms, that is nothing but pi square d square by 2 lambda. So here pi d is nothing but circumference of the helix. Already we know here we have a pi square d square. So in the place of pi square d square, I am placing the c square here, c square by 2 lambda. So like this we are finding the spacing between the two turns. And now see the pitch angle also. So the pitch angle for the circular polarization is alpha equal to tan inverse of s by pi d. So tan inverse of, already we know s, just here we are finding s for the circular polarization, that is c square by 2 lambda. Now substitute that s here, c square by 2 lambda by pi d. Already we know c square is nothing but pi square d square 2 lambda by pi d. So cancel the terms and the remaining part will be alpha equal to tan inverse pi d by 2 lambda. Alpha equal tan inverse of pi d is nothing but circumference of the helix. So c by 2 lambda. This is about the normal mode of radiation of the helical antenna. Now here we are seeing the axial or end fire mode. In this axial or end fire mode, the maximum radiation takes place in the helix axis direction only. This one is the helical antenna axis, helical axis. So in this axial or end fire mode, the maximum radiation takes place in this helix axis direction only. Coming to the normal mode, the maximum radiation takes place perpendicular to the helix axis. Now how we are obtaining the end fire mode of radiation or axial mode of radiation? This is end fire mode of radiation or axial mode of radiation is also depending on the two parameters. Those are spacing between the two turns, that is s, and diameter of the helix, that is d. Depending on those parameters only, here the axial mode of radiation can be existing. Here we have to considering the spacing between the two turns and diameter of the helix in terms of one wavelength only. Then only here we have to achieving the axial mode of radiation. This axial mode of radiation is very important. Why? Because most of the practical antennas radiate in the directional beam in the axial direction only. That's why the axial mode of radiation is very important. And here see this one is the axial mode of radiation. Here this one is the helical antenna with coaxial cable. And To achieving the axial mode of radiation, here we have some considerations. Those are spacing between the two turns is approximately equal to lambda by 4 and the diameter of the helix is lambda by 3 and circumference of the helix is in terms of one wavelength. Then only the axial mode of radiation can be existing here. So now here this one is the helical antenna. One turn is connected to the inner conductor of the coaxial cable and other turn is connected to the ground plane. And here this one is the helical antenna with a two-wire transmission line. Here we have a two-wire transmission line now. That's why the impedance must be existing here. For calculating that impedance, here we have a formula that is nothing but R equal to 140 C by lambda. And coming to the pitch angle in the axial mode, the pitch angle in the axial mode is varies from the 12 degrees to 18 degrees. Optimum pitch angle of the axial mode is 14 degrees. Remember this one. And here in the axial mode, the antenna gain and the beam width both are depending on the length of the helix. The length of the helix is n into s. And here the beam width between the half power points is given by half power beam width equal to 52 by c and the root of lambda cube by n into s in terms of degrees. How we are finding the half power beam width? Generally for finding the half power beam width, here we have to consider the major lobe. On the major lobe only we are finding the half power beam width between the 2 points. At those 2 points the power is half of its maximum power. Between those 2 points we are finding the beam width, that is nothing but half power beam width. Now between the two first nulls, here we are finding the beam width, that is nothing but the beam width between the first nulls. Coming to the axial mode, the beam width between the first nulls is 115 by c and the root of lambda cube by n into s in terms of degrees. And for finding the directivity also, here we have a formula in the axial mode of radiation, that is nothing but GD equal to 15 into ns c square by lambda cube. And here what is the axial ratio in the axial mode? That is nothing but AR equal to 1 plus 1 by 2L. N is nothing but number of turns in the helical antenna. This one is the radiation pattern of the axial mode or end fire mode. This will be the radiation pattern of the normal mode or perpendicular mode. Okay. Next topic we will see in the next class.